Happy Christmas to all the Shove It squad, and if you're not in the squad, I hope you have a horrible Christmas and have to eat rats for dinner. Talking of horrible Christmases, mine is about to be bad because for some reason I'm about to watch a pay-per-view that has received a pretty bad reputation in the modern era. I'm talking of course about NWA Samhain. This was a pay-per-view that was broadcast a couple of months ago. Going into this pay-per-view there was talk of a huge TV deal for the NWA with the CW network. The show was hyped up by Billy Corgan and it was a show that received more attention than any of them had in a long time. But the pay-per-view has become known for two things, neither of them are positive. It received a buy rate of only around 200, and this show reportedly screwed up so much that they lost their shot at getting a TV slot on the CW network. I felt like it was important to see if the show was actually bad, or just completely overshadowed by one stupid spot on the show. Because you've all heard about the spot, but what else went down? The thing is, going into this, I actually wanted to give them a chance and show them some attention and love. I appreciate someone attempting a different style of wrestling. It's a small arena in Cleveland, Ohio. It's lit up nicely, and actually looks alright. Then James Mitchell turns up, with women dressed nicely, but then wearing masks of his face. What am I watching? He's got a bottle of Jack. This show is to celebrate the pagan holiday, and he will be the master of the ceremony. For some reason, the most attractive woman is hidden behind Mitchell, so she was a waste of money. He brings out a wacky bunch of wrestlers for an intergender tag team war, pins an over the top rope elimination battle royal style. I can't blame them for hitting the bottle during this match. The story here is that one team must win in order to be freed from James Mitchell's ownership. There's so many people here whilst this peaceful classical music is playing. Max the Impaler has an interesting look. This is a woman who has been wrestling a lot in Japan. They keep bashing into each other and running backwards, it looks so funny. Then the man throws her out in about 30 seconds. A girl called CJ dives with her head scissors, but she isn't a part of the match. Instead we get Alex Misery, who interestingly is the son of Apollo from TNA fame. The big guy eventually catches a moonsault and after a bit of a struggle he gorilla press slams him to eliminate him. But he barely makes it. Or the other guy was meant to catch him? Not sure, but it just didn't look good. In now is another wacky jobber called The Barker. He uses a cane on the muscle man followed by a slam which eliminates him. In now is the Hawaiian Hitman. He's almost as wide as he is tall. Unfortunately he runs into a spine buster. The woman is once again in the ring. She's apparently a magical assistant. She uses her powers as an assistant to encourage Barker to dive on the team. He does it, and then he's confused when he's told that he's just eliminated himself. Two women have a fight, which looks a bit awkward, but to be honest, I can't hate on them. In the meantime, two men are fighting, one DDTs the other to eliminate him. Another bloke decides to light up a cigarette during the match. He tries to burn Mims with it. The smoke is reversed and it ends up in the smoker's mouth, right where he normally wants it. Mims beats him with a side effect. Max the Impaler comes back in. God, this is so hard to follow. Mims hits her with a clothesline from hell before Judas joins the match. He does 3 basic slams. The outsider's edge is reversed and Mims beats him. It seems like it's over, but plot twist, apparently a previously eliminated wrestler is allowed to come back in for some reason. Max is the chosen one. Mims suplexes her but gets distracted and runs into a clothesline. He's now been eliminated. Max will now face Gags the Gimp. He's a luchador / gimp. The match gets even wackier with a keyboard being used and then an ironing board. Max has enough of him and throws him through the ironing board, clotheslines him and he's out. Now Sal the Pow will face her. He headbutts her in the boob and smiles with happiness. His drop kicks have no effect and he runs into a flying something. Max floors him with a chain assisted punch. That team are now out of wrestlers but they're allowed to send one man back in. But Gags gets confused and tries to help his fallen friend, which apparently counts that he's back in and he's volunteered. Max immediately slams him, and fortunately it's over. So I guess James Mitchell now owns all of these people. What a lucky man. This really feels like early TNA so far. Hard to follow, chaotic, random and colourful. Next up it'll be a loser leaves town match, but of course we first have to meet our special wacky referee. So straight away this match loses any chance of being a serious affair. It'll be Rush Freeman versus Brady Pierce. Well, at least he looks like a professional wrestler. They waste loads of time running around on the outside of the ring. The ref is biased too because Rush Freeman is his brother. He keeps interjecting himself in the match. Brady Pierce hits a spine buster, but instead of going for the pin, he starts dancing. The ref hits him in the nutsack and flips him off. The ref tries to count a pin, but music starts playing. Randomly, Matt Cardona is here. He takes out the ref with a chair. He also takes out Rush with a chair. Then he kicks the other guy in the nutsack and everyone has been destroyed by Matt Cardona. He drags Rush on top of Pierce and forces the ref to count. That's over. Simply horrible. The ring announcer didn't even know the name of the winner and keeps making mistakes. He says the winner is whatever the hell his name is. Cardona cuts a promo complaining that this is supposed to be a hardcore pay-per-view, but he's the king of the deathmatch and he hasn't been given a match on this show. He wishes that he was in the main event. He threatens the two guys in that match. Cardona runs down Cleveland and EC3. He shoots on Billy Corgan too, which brings the bold boy himself out. What a great pay-per-view this is so far. Corgan's promo is erratic as ever. He never shows any fear of the wrestlers, which always irritates me. Cardona was previously the champion but had to relinquish that belt. Corgan starts dropping F-bombs at him which aren't even censored. He toys with turning the main event into a triple threat. He then calls Matt Cardona the biggest draw since he's owned the company. This really needs to get to the point. So far this segment has lasted for an entire 10 minutes of the show. He teases putting Cardona in the main event and the fans seem to want it, but Corgan screams Matt Cardona can go to hell. Cardona teases hitting Corgan with a chair, then Camille rushes the ring with a spear and an ugly coat. She hits Matt Cardona with a chair and now he's dead. Thanks for coming. She is the wife of one of the main eventers. That's the first 50 minutes of the show done, and honestly what a mess. Now we have an interview of EC3 looking like a pot noodle. He talks about how great his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio is. His nose looks like it's on the verge of falling off. He says he'll retain his title tonight. Now we have a junior heavyweight title match. It's a Falls Count Anywhere, pillar to post match, whatever that means. Does it mean that Falls count anywhere as long as it's between a pillar and post? Joe Alonzo takes on the champion Colby Carino, the son of Steve. Carino starts with an almost Samoan drop and a crazy standing flip senton. He tries to dive out the ring and Alonzo smashes him with a kick. So far, this is the only match that has resembled anything like modern wrestling. Alonzo can't hit a pile driver on the apron and he's back body dropped instead. This is such a nice small arena, it looks so historic. Alonzo with a double axe out of the ring. Carino responds, throwing him off the stage and hitting a senton out there. Some people are desperately trying to enjoy a drink to get through this show, but the wrestlers ruin that for them too. One of the security guards thinks he's Solo Sikoa. They fight into the cheap seats. They cheese a balcony suplex. Everyone desperately holds up their mobile phones to record the death of a wrestler. Alonzo falls backwards into a pile of security guards. Carino isn't done and he looks to dive. Alonzo moves, but the security don't. New Jack would be proud of that one. Alonzo hits that face buster that Jericho used to use, but the ref is too far away to count the pin. The match continues. Alonzo is bored and takes a seat on James Mitchell's throne. He shouldn't bother as Carino wakes up and hits him with a trash can. Carino DDTs him on the wooden floor for the free. You know what, I actually enjoyed that one. They used the environment well, yet they still seemed like they hated each other and it didn't feel too choreographed. Not bad at all. What we have next is one of the strangest gimmick matches that I'm aware of. It'll be a rock and roll tag team match. Kerry Morton and Alex Taylor taking on the Headbangers. Yes, the Headbangers in 2023, Mosh and Thrasher. Now listen to the rules of this one, because you've got to get your head around this one. The rules of this match is that if you pin someone but don't get the free, you must do a shot. Wow, I don't think that one James Mitchell spot is the only reason people stop taking the show seriously. The wrestlers all start drinking before the bell. The Headbangers forcefully tip whiskey down Morton's throat. He tries to kiss a bartender and gets slapped. Mosh does a springboard clothesline, which is honestly more than I was expecting. He only gets a 2 though, so now he must take a shot. He knocks it over in the process, so has to have a new one poured for him. Tags are made. The Headbangers hit a double flapjack for a 2, so Thrasher must now drink. He's almost rolled up whilst drinking. But he isn't, so the other guy has to drink. I can see this disrupting the flow of the match. Morton and Taylor hit a double suplex. Nothing happens for a very long time. Thrasher then hits a back suplex and can make the tag. The commentary say that everyone is drunk, which is why they aren't moving well. Mosh starts hitting bouncers and bartenders. Taylor climbs up to the top and does a shot, but then he gets pushed off. One of the Headbangers dives off the top. Back in the ring, Mosh shows Morton his knickers. Morton blocks him and pins him with his feet on the ropes for the free. He proceeds to pretend that a phone is his genitals and stumbles around the arena. Alex Taylor offers the Headbanger some more shots. They all do it, but the Headbangers are dicks and hit him with the stage dive. A really strange match. It was kind of funny though. Headbangers weren't that bad for their steep ages. Talking of strange, James Mitchell returns as the girls crawl out, one has to be censored. Mitchell reveals that he's so high that his eyebrows are about to start flapping away and go flying like Dumbo. He's going now to do things with the girls. I have no idea why that just happened. We go from that wackiness straight into a serious submission match. Why would they have Mitchell do that right before a serious match? It'll be Blake Troop, who's a scary looking dude, taking on Jax Dane, the former tag team partner of Crimson. Within seconds, Blake Troop hits a German and a back suplex. Dane is popping straight back up though. Dane gets angry and throws a belly to belly and a German of his own. Jax Dane hits a Samoan drop, which I'm just not okay with. Samhain drops should just be safe as Samhain's a fat guys and Dane is neither. Both guys keep no selling strikes until Dane hits a spine buster which finally gets his opponent down. It turns out he's playing possum though and almost puts Dane in a triangle hold. The manager, who is Chris Silvio, cheats. Chris Silvio is becoming like Slapnuts. He's appeared in my last 2 videos in a row. He chokes out Dane with a camera cable. Troop puts on a sleeper hold and it seems to be working as they collapse to the mat. But somehow he wakes up and manages to stand up and put Trooper in an electric chair drop. With the match continuing, Troop reverses him again and puts on a figure 4 leg lock. Dane escapes and hits a big clothesline and then he puts on the camel clutch. The manager rushes the ring and he's thrown away as the submission continues. Troop taps out. You know what, I actually like this match too. It might have needed a little bit more time, but the moves all look painful. It's like NWA can't decide if they want to be serious or not. In the back, a lady called Rufy J is excited for a women's title match tonight. She says she's a 5-star athlete. I guess we'll have to wait and see if that's true. What kind of a name is Rufy anyway? It sounds like a dog, or something that you spike someone's drink with. Maybe it was Mitchell. Before that, we have a women's tag team title match. The challengers are, wow, look at the size of those. The Hawk can make a nest in there. They are Markova and Taylor Rising. They are the Harley Quinns. The champions are pretty empowered, Kylie Page and Ella Envy. I guess they're 2 witches. Wouldn't you know it, this is one of the only 2 matches on the show without a gimmick, so I guess the wrestlers decide to be as wacky as possible and gimmick up. They make fun of each other's outfits. A few minutes pass by as they have a pose off. Markova throws 1 slap and tags out. The other 2 girls try to take it more seriously. Rising hits one of the worst head scissors of all time into a kick from her partner. Pretty Empowered hit double stink faces in the corner. At this point, the crowd sound weary and fed up. After being isolated for a long time, Markova starts to fight back and hits a brutal RKO. The challengers get double missile dropkick for a 2. The camera continuously zooms in on their asses like the AEW camera people are here. Markova hits a knee and makes the pin, which the ref starts counting before realising that she isn't even legal, and then he stops counting. What a mess. Pretty Empowered win with the code red. I expect all of these are young ladies trying to learn. Not good. The national heavyweight title is on the line now. It's a Burning Lake Brawl, whatever that is. Chris Adonis is the challenger. It's weird seeing him with long hair. The champion is Silas Mason with everybody's favourite grandma, Ricky Morton. This is another big dude. No idea what the rules are of a Burning Lake Brawl. They fight on the outside for ages, so I guess it's just an ODQ match. Adonis is shoved on a guardrail and clotheslined off. Adonis hits a suplex on the wood. Chris Adonis' gimmick is that he is sexy Jesus. In the ring, Jesus hits a set-up powerbomb for a 2. The master lock is reversed into a back suplex. He also hits a gut wrench powerbomb for a 2. Finisher reversals are traded, and eventually Silas Mason hits him with what is basically a black hole slam, and that's a simple 3. Not much to say, a 6-minute match, it wasn't really anything. Now they have a riddle box match. Gotta love that Violent J is still working. Apparently he works for free too. He's here to explain the rules of the match. It sounds like it'll just be a match with a load of weapons wrapped as presents like that time TNA did it. Tim Storm doesn't know what to say. Vampiro leads his misfits out. Sorry, I meant Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf La Rebellion. I didn't know they were French. They also have Jerry Other with them, who is the son of Jerry Only. They take on the brothers of Funstruction, Rufo and Yabo the clowns, who enter to some ICP music. Violent J looks so happy to be here. I have no idea what to expect here. Vampiro and Violent J sort of wrestle. I don't think they're officially in this match. The first box contains a slingshot with ping pong balls. It doesn't go well. What on earth am I watching here? Now we have a box with lightsabers in it. They decide to lightsaber a clown in the nutsack. A big box contains nothing but balloons. I've only just noticed the footwear the clowns are wearing. Rubber chickens. I'm starting to think there aren't actually any proper weapons in these boxes. One box has a t-shirt and dolls which the clowns throw into the crowd. We get a whoop whoop chant. Violent J hits a clothesline. La Rebellion then try to do some wrestling. Then they get distracted and get a drum. The clowns are killed with a drum solo and a drum over the head. The Clown Brothers recover and hit a sidewalk slam leg drop combination, but no one seems to be in a rush to win this one. There is one final box. This box contains a pumpkin. The clown can't use it though, and the pumpkin falls on the floor and partially smashes. The pumpkin is now placed on the clown's head and they smash the pumpkin. He has a funny pumpkin collar now. This show really is a tribute to Billy Corgan. Now we've got a pie. I thought that was all the boxes, but apparently not. La Rebellion throw the pie but hit their own guy by mistake. Classic. A box of popcorn, which also contains thumbtacks. The clown is fed popcorn and... What am I even reading? They feed him popcorn and thumbtacks and knee him in the face. Vampiro suddenly pushes two teammates off the top rope. Vampiro and Violent J want to have a face-off. Jay kicks him in the shin and in the head and hits the nail in the coffin for the 3. For the 3rd or the 4th time in this video, what did I just watch? I think it would have been better if the boxes contained actual random weapons like bricks, bottles of milk and Hulk hands. I guess that doesn't suit the clown gimmick though. Tim Storm looks to be on the verge of tears. He's never seen anything like this in his 70-year life. The other guy on commentary looks like he doesn't know if he's coming or going. He probably booked this show. Now it's the infamous spot. James Mitchell and a group of ladies appear at a table, and you know the rest. Good call from commentary saying that you can't do that on YouTube. Well, you're right, because every time I've mentioned or even shown a picture of what's happening in the scene, I've had my video age restricted. You've all heard the story at this point, you all know what happened. The whole thing was weird and completely unnecessary, but apparently Corgan wanted this spot on the show. To be fair though, it wasn't the only thing on this show which would have put the network off. My main issue is, what was the point? He's not even a wrestler, so why is everything based around him and his wacky goings on? What was the payoff meant to be? On to the women's title match. The challenger is Rufy J, who makes the boys spray, versus the champion Kenzie Page. She's only apparently 21 years old. Is she really 21 years old? Hard times, I guess. These two girls seem to be better wrestlers than the girls in the tag match earlier on. It's quite heated and the moves are nice. There's a really nice kick exchange and they throw them with speed and power and it doesn't look fake. Rufy hits a rolling German suplex for a 2. Kenzie does a swing blade for a 2. Rufy responds with a cradle shock, but she misses her dive and runs into a kick for a 2. Rufy manages to hit her sit-out spinebuster, which is usually the setup for a dive, but she misses the dive and gets nailed with a cutter for the 3. Other than the lightweight match earlier on, it's match of the night unfortunately. In the semi-main event, we've got a tag title match in a Knights of the Round Table match. And we've got actual knights here from the medieval times. And a wizard. Why? Is that Kevin Nash under there? And a little person. Maid Marian. Why is any of this necessary? The challengers are Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox. The champions are Blunt Force Trauma, who is actually Rodney Mack and Marshe Rocket under masks. They are Doom, I guess. These 4 guys here, this is what happens when you give up. They decide to argue with a fan and they get jumped for it. They fight on the stage in front of the wacky characters. A round table is found, but nobody is sent through it. Nothing happens and they come back to the ring. Some normal tables are set up around the ring. One of the Doom members has double chokeslam through a table. A happy announcer screams out that it was not a round table, so the match continues. Trevor Murdoch is powerbombed through another table. Once again, the announcer screams it's not a round table, the match continues. You think these guys would learn, maybe they're short on brain cells. They don't learn though, and they set up another normal table. Marshe Rocket is powered through the table. The little person starts dancing in the ring. He punches Murdoch in the nutsack. Now he has a miniature table. What a show this is. Murdoch boots him in the head and chokeslammed him through the little table. The match goes on forever. The highlight is the Mac Militant getting a clothesline leg sweep through the table, but not a round table as the announcer happily explains. Up the ramp we go. Rocket is getting double teamed. Suddenly one of the knights jumps into action and floors Murdoch and Knox. Knox is chokeslammed through the round table and mercifully it's over. The knight turns out to be Aaron Stevens, who is the manager of that team. Slow, bad comedy and wacky. It felt like a match from an ECW tribute show with guys who can barely move. And I've also got to point out, if only round tables are legal, why would they set up a load of normal tables around the ring if they're not meant to be used? Now I believe the main event will be a serious affair, which would be a welcome change for this show. It's a no DQ match. Camille leads out her husband Tom Latimer. I find it hard calling him anything else but Bram. He looks like the Macho Man. The champion is Ethan Carter III, EC3. He has a gladiator gimmick for some reason. EC3 doesn't have a shred of fat on him. Anyway, EC3 seems to be more interested in arguing with Camille. I'd love to have something to say, but unfortunately it's just kind of boring. EC3 tries a dive and Camille hits him with a chair. For some reason Bram just lets him recover because everybody on this show can barely move. He eventually hits some net breakers in the ring with the crowd in silence. Camille is now in the ring, sat on the chair. I think I'd rather watch her versus EC3. That seems to be where the story is. She annoys EC3 so much, which makes him climb back to his feet, but Bram hits him with yet another net breaker. EC3 responds with 3 Germans without a break. Bram quickly shuts him down with, guess what, a net breaker. Bram connects with a middle rope back suplex, but it's not over and EC3 flies out the ring with a dive. This match feels completely the opposite of anything so far tonight, and maybe that is the problem. And maybe that's the problem. It's hard to be serious after all that chaos. Speaking of serious, Bram does a pile driver on the wooden floor. Once again they go back to the ring. Bram keeps using the chair whilst Camille encourages him. He hits him about 50 times, so EC3 is now dead. But no, he pushes Bram into Camille. She's fine and Bram drills EC3 again. Then Matt Cardona hits the ring. He tries to boot Camille, but Bram saves her and takes the boot for her. EC3 gets rid of him and he hits his own power drive on Bram for the 3. So EC3 was power drivered on wooden floor, but he's fine. But Bram gets one in the ring and he's not fine. EC3 has a face-off with Cardona, so presumably this will be the next title feud. Not really much to say, it was a match that happened and nobody cared. That ends the pay-per-view, a show that was completely different to any current wrestling product, and different is usually a good thing in my eyes. You want to stand out, but this didn't stand out in the right way. It felt like comedy wrestling or a tribute show. It was too much. It would have been fine if you just kept it to one match, but too many of these matches felt the same and the matches were so unfocused. James Mitchell was not the only thing that would have turned a TV network off taking the NWA. I give this pay-per-view a 2 out of 10, and I do appreciate the effort to be different, but it just didn't work, and if you don't agree with that, you're a jerk.